Hey everyone, my name is Cliff Sereday. I'm team leader for Marti Hampton Real Estate, and I am here with
Kimberley Smith.
And today we're going to be talking to you guys a little bit about what the fortune is in your follow-up and how you guys can maximize your profit with the clients that you already have and what cadences to follow. So we're going to go ahead and jump in with the second slide. A little bit about follow-up versus lead generation, and I'm going to have Kim kick that off.
So lead generation is sales, follow-up is marketing. So when you're doing your lead generation, that is to generate new business. It's exactly what the name sounds like. And then when we are doing the follow-up, that's marketing. That's us coming from a place of value, what's going on in the market, and just being beneficial to our clients.
Right. So when we talk about, and they all coincide together too. So when we're talking about our lead generation, the leads that we're generating will ultimately go into that follow-up category after you go through your initial cadence with them and make that contact, bring the value. I'm happy that you brought up coming from value, coming from contribution. And yeah, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the next slide, and starting with your best foot forward. So 67% of buyers typically will work with the first buyer's agent that they talk to. So that's really kind of sets you up for success if you stay top of mind. So when we talk about, I know we talk about with our team and with agents that we work with locally, following a cadence that's going to allow you to start with your best foot forward. Obviously with that speed to lead, starting off, we push that really big. And we'll go through some stats here in just a minute, talking about what that looks like and how to do that. So when we talk about starting with your best foot forward, one, it's that mindset. Two, so setting yourself up on a daily basis with having the mindset that I'm going to convert somebody. Who am I going to be able to talk to today? What new conversations can I have? And what can I move to the next step in the process? Kim, can you talk a little bit about tips that you have before you start getting into your follow-up for the day and what that looks like? How do you get yourself amped up and ready to go?
I start my day with exercise. It gets the blood flowing, new ideas generating. And then I also repeat to myself that these people want to hear from me, as a form of an affirmation. They want to hear from me. I'm excited to talk to them. They're excited to talk to me because I have something of value. I have something that I want to share with them and that they'll want to know. So I don't talk myself out of it before I even get into the game. I get into the game and I try to figure out how I can help people.
Right. Okay. And then we talk about intensity versus frequency, right? Especially, so this is going to start from lead generation into your follow-up. So we talk about not missing their buying or selling time. So we've all had this happen to us because we're not, everyone slips up on follow-up sometimes, right? We're not perfect. We try to be, but you're in contact with a lead and then you slack for a week. You call them back that following week and they're already under contract.
Right.
Or they've decided to go a different direction, or they've hired a realtor that, stayed more top of mind. So talking with you, you're working with buyers.
Right.
And what does that cadence look like for you when you get a lead or you have an open house and you get a great lead from that? What's your plan to stay in contact with them and not kind of fall off?
Well, I have to keep in mind that you never know when you're in their window, right? So I may talk to them today, but they may not be ready until next year. And that's okay. This is a journey. I'm here along with them, but keeping top of mind, keeping them informed, because we never know when they're in their buying or selling window. So being able to stay in contact with them. So when they are ready, Kimberley, that's who I've been keeping in contact with. That's who's been helping me, keeping me up with market trends. That's where I want to be.
Yep. And I think too, and this is just, we heard this a couple of weeks ago, is like kind of being that like psycho agent in the beginning, right?
Cementing yourself
into their brain that, if I'm a buyer that comes into Kim's database, or I attended one of her open houses, that she's going to, whether I tell her, okay, I'm 6 months out, she's going to stay in contact with me, especially in the beginning, making sure that they know that I know Kim's name, that when I think of Kim or I think about buying a house, I think of Kim. So that's, it's huge because I think too, there becomes like that mental block when leads come in or you have an open house that you don't want to annoy them, or you you don't want them to, tell you no. I always say, you call them until they, buy or die. And it's really the truth of it, because especially when people are, it's happening right now for them. If I'm on your website, if I attend an event that you're having, it's on my mind right now.
Right. And he also, the video that we saw, he brought up a great point that we're doing them a disservice by not reaching out to them as soon as they raise their hand. They're on the site, they have real estate on their brain, they have questions. Reach out to them at that point, because an hour from now, they could be making dinner with the kids, they could be doing laundry, they could be doing something else. And at that point, they're not top of mind anymore.
Yeah.
So,
and then I think too, I want to come back to that coming from contribution and coming from value. So when you're reaching out to doing your follow-up, right? So if I called Kim and I'm just, where are you looking to buy? Yeah. How long? What's your price point? And it's nothing's personal. I'm just selling you. That's where I become that pushy sales agent. But if I'm coming with market data, if I know that I'm looking in a certain area, and you can tell me about the schools in the area, if I have kids, or if you know that I like to play tennis, where's a tennis park nearby, something that I can take away. And again, I'm going to remember, oh yeah, Kim told me that this is over here, or that I'll get value from this area because of what Kim has shared with me.
And then in the future, I can continue to look out for those things.
Yeah.
And send them that, and that could be another touch point.
Right.
Because it's a contribution.
Yeah. And we'll get into note taking in just a minute. So I'm going to move on, and we're going to go through some stats with you guys too, and how the odds can be in your favor. Again, like we talked about, I know our team is really focused on speed to lead. It's huge. And the MIT and InsideSales.com did a study last year with over about 5.2 million leads across different sales industries and platforms. And there were some really interesting stats to help you guys kind of gear how, when and how many times you should be reaching out. So your response time matters always, I think. You can see on the next slide, there's an infographic. If you wait longer than 5 minutes to make first contact with the lead, your chances of qualifying that lead, or even getting that lead to pick up the phone, go down by about 10 times. And then so on and so forth. So you're waiting after 15 minutes, and then past 30 minutes, you're basically down to 0% chance of getting that lead to make contact with you, right? So it's a 400% decrease in odds of qualifying that lead if you wait longer than 5 minutes. So we always say here too, so when we're working. So if you're a full-time agent in this industry, and stay ready. When those leads if you're on a team and you're getting provided leads, stay ready for those. If you're independent and you're investing your money out for lead flow for yourself to build your business, treat every one of those like they're $1 million buyer, because you never know. Right. And then on the next slide, when should I call? When should I be doing my follow-up? So with lead generation in the beginning, you're obviously going to want to hit in that first 5 minutes. Yeah. But does everybody answer on the first call? No.
Not even the second or the third.
Right. So when creating a plan to when am I going to call these leads? So if I have, say, a list of 50 leads over my career that I have not been able to contact yet, setting times, it was shown that on Thursdays are the best days to make your calls, your follow-up calls. So block out time on Thursdays we'll get into times too in a minute. But there's a 49% difference in pickups on Thursdays versus any other day, versus on Tuesdays, which has the lowest amount of pickup in regards to leads. So setting that time, doing that on a weekly basis. If you have a dialing system, throw those leads into a dialing system, run through them on Thursdays. If you make contact, pull them out of that list and throw them back into your main CRM area. But making that plan, continuously doing that. Wednesdays and Thursdays are your best days, but Thursday coming out on top just with a little bit more pickups. When should I call? What time of day? I think everyone kind of has battling, ideas on this. 6 months ago, even I was pushing, get up in the morning, get your calls done, eat your frogs in the morning, do your income producing activities then. But really it's pretty fluid. So according to this graph here, so between 8 and 9 and 4 and 5 p.m. Are the best times to make calls in regards to leads. Now, if you think we're going to back up, so on Thursdays from 4 to 5, every Thursday, I'm going to do my follow-up. Or Thursdays from 8 to 9, I'll do it for an hour. And then from 4 to 5, I'm going to do another hour of follow-up with my leads. And you can see, so like taking from 1 to 2, we think about that too, calling people during their lunch hours.
Yeah.
Maybe people are really trying to eat, right? So I know that's a big time that some agents call, but just having that information to put your best foot forward when you're doing your follow-ups, you're also making, best use of your time as well. But just making sure that you're time blocking that out. And then, but they didn't answer. We're going to call them back? Yes. Okay, so you can see here that, typically agents are not calling, most agents are not calling after that first call, second call. They're dropping off because they're like, oh, bad lead. Yeah. But really, it's just your follow-up.
Yeah.
Right? So I know we've all been there. If you're looking for a car, looking for a house yourself, you're pushing people off. But some people are just busy. So it may take that 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, all the way up to the 30th call to get them. But staying persistent, because now you think about it, we just start with 10 agents calling the same lead. After the first few, half of the agents are going to fall off. And then up to 10, you're really going to be the only one calling. So if you're outperforming every other agent in the area, now what you're doing is solidifying what we talked about earlier, cementing yourself into their brain. You're remaining top of mind. You're being intense with your follow-up, and you're following all these cadences to set yourself up to convert more leads. So they said after making a few more call attempts, you can experience up to a 70% increase in your contacts. So just think about the amount of money that you can be putting on. So if you called every lead 10 times, every single lead that came into you 10 times, would you fail? No. You're going to see conversion on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let me actually, I'm gonna pick on you for a second. You've had a lead and they don't answer. How do you keep yourself amped up and excited still about that lead that has been dodging you, or they're never available? And how do you do that?
Well, I'll be honest. Of course, I get discouraged. I do everything I can, and at the end of the day, that's what I ask myself: did I do everything that I can? So I continue to follow up with them. I come from a place of value. I ask them. I have little tricks and tips in my back pocket. Like I had a client who's been ghosting me, and I asked them, "Hey, if an off-market opportunity were to come up, would you be interested?" Like I have little jobs like that saved, but I just keep trying, and I see it as a game. That's how I frame it in my mind. It's a game. I just want to see. They're not my client yet. I'm trying to get them to be, so I don't take it personal. And I just keep trying, honestly.
Yeah. No, I think that's the best way to put it too. And I know I push this a lot, is that this is just a game. It's a game of who I can talk about real estate with today. What new conversations can I have, and who can I wake back up? Yeah. Because especially too, it just depends on the time of year. We're now leaving summer, going into fall, so people get a little bit less busy. You may be able to get people that originally started speaking with in the beginning of summer now waking back up, and they might be ready to go. The market's very fluid, as we know too, so interest rates are continuously fluctuating, but just having that market knowledge and having great lender partners and people that can help navigate this with you to come from value, right? Okay, I'm going to move on to talk about time blocking and why it's important. I think everybody, they want a time block, right? Yeah. And I think down to the basics, my advice for time blocking is if tomorrow I wake up, if I'm not going to the gym today, do not time block yourself at 5 a.m. to go to the gym tomorrow, because you're not going to get up and do it, right? So maybe start a little easier. Time block yourself for 30 minutes at the gym at 8:30 in the morning when you're up, you're ready to go. And then start backing it down. If you're getting more serious about it, then back it down, or make it more general. I'm going to do some activity from 8 to 8:30 that's going to get my body moving. And then as it pertains to real estate, Don't time block yourself for 5 hours to do calls because you're not going to do them. Start with an hour if you haven't time blocked for it to do some sort of income producing activity, whether that's follow-up or lead generation. And once you start getting the habit and you get comfortable on the phones and you get comfortable talking to new people and you're getting through these objections, then start kind of getting more strategic on what you're doing during those income producing activities. So we're looking at those Thursdays. We're looking at not 8 to 9 a.m. or 4 to 5 p.m. Get more strategic. So maybe from 8 to 9, I'm going to circle call. I'm going to do lead generation in the morning, try to set some appointments for the afternoon. And then in the afternoon, I'm going to do my follow-up on leads that I'm already working with and get the highest call rates on. So I think I have a quote in here too. It says, "We will rise and fall with our commitment to consistency." And I think that's the biggest thing. So if I'm doing something every single day, I am guaranteed to see results from it. So we'd say like done's better than perfect, right? Yeah. But if I'm going to do my follow-ups when I feel like doing it. That's you can't duplicate that. You can't scale that. You can't make that a predictable business. But if I know every day I'm going to do follow-up or I'm going to do lead generation, which you should be doing every single day if you're a real estate agent, whether on a team or you're independent, but it's continuously, that's how you get off of that roller coaster that every real estate agent is trying to get off of, where I want to have a consistent amount of closings. I know what business I'm going to do for the rest of the year, and I can duplicate that, but I can't duplicate when I want to. Yeah. Just if I'm in a good mood today, or if the wind's blowing the right way, I'm gonna do my follow-up. You have to do it every single day. I'm going to have you talk about taking notes and how that can change the experience with your leads and with your follow-up.
So a lot of times as we're making calls, you want to rush through it. You feel like they're rushing you off the phone, but taking the time to actually slow down and pick up on the little cues that they're giving you. Like, for example, they'll say, "No, I can't right now. I have my son's game on Saturday." "Oh, what does your son play?" And taking those type of notes, right? "Oh, now I know they have a son, they play a sport, they do this on that day," all from that one sentence. So now I'm going to use that in our next conversations. So when I call them again and they act like they don't know who I am, which they probably don't, right? But I call them and I can reference that. It's very, very powerful. It's a very different conversation than, "Who are you? What do you want?" "Oh, hey, remember we talked about your son's game? How'd that go?" And actually being a human being, it really helps. It really, really helps with conversions and just making that connection.
Right. So, and also too, it kind of changes, like, I'm not following up.
Yeah.
You're changing your follow-up. Now I'm doing a check-in on a friend, right? Yeah. So you're really becoming, like, if I called you and just like, "How's that home search going?"
Yeah.
I'm just following up with you from our last conversation.
Yeah.
They've heard that same thing over and over and over again through their home buying process or home selling process. But really just you tailor these conversations for each follow-up that you're doing. And we have
it a lot better.
Yeah.
Receive it a lot better. It's not this salesperson asking me when I'm ready. "No, I'm not ready." Yeah. No. That's not why I was calling. "How's your son?" "Oh, he's great. Thank you." And it's "Oh, Kim's calling me." It's completely different. It's a game changer.
Right. Well, and also too, like, I think there was an example brought up with somebody that there was a couple and they were pregnant. They held it off because they were like, it's too much right now. We're pregnant, but then figure out when that due date is, find that out and then call them after they have the kid. Cause now they're probably scrambling this house that's too small. Yeah. Right. Now they have a whole extra body in there. Yeah. So use that as an opportunity. Like, there's ways that you can, finesse the conversation with your leads that you're talking to make it more tailored for them, where it doesn't feel like a follow-up call. It feels like a check-in. And I think that's a game changer. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to do a little recap here on what we talked about and how you guys can plug some of this stuff into your business. So I think my biggest takeaways are from the, front load your follow-up, right? So be that psycho agent, right? When I'm looking, if I'm going to hire Kim, it's because I know that she called me 16 times. I dodged her for 15. Okay. She got me on the 16th call. She provided me with market data, schools for my kids, and activities I like to do.
And you know what I just thought of as well? If you would go that hard for their business, why wouldn't you go as hard for them, to advocate for them when it comes to their purchase? That's why they'd want to go with you. And that really changes your mindset on, I'm being annoying. No, I'm showing them my value.
Yep.
You know, I'm going to fight for you just as hard, maybe definitely harder.
Right.
You know?
Well, that's the thing too. So I think talking about that, like you brought up earlier, and I've also heard, it's like, if I don't make contact with this lead, they're going to have to work with another crappy agent.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to have to do that. I want to be able to service them. Yeah. I want to be able to work with them. And so I can fight for them, especially in this market too. Because in both buyers and sellers, it's a kind of a weird market for everybody trying to navigate this. So you want to make sure that you put yourself and position yourself with that client in the best possible way, so that they can see you as a resource. You're the professional to guide them to the closing table. Right. Next thing is really following up that speed to lead, and your follow-up, setting that time to follow up every week. So if those Thursdays in the morning or in the afternoon with those clients, making sure that you're doing that on a consistent basis and doing that on a daily basis, and maybe just hitting a little bit harder on Thursdays, so, maybe they'll get more pickups. And then time blocking, again, just that consistency. I think that's going to, where you can duplicate your business, you can make it predictable for yourself and start seeing those results from your follow-up and from those pesky leads that won't respond to you. But I'd like to open it up if we have questions.
Hey guys, the chat box is open, or feel free to DM us. But yeah, these are the follow-up masters. So if you have any questions about follow-ups, this is the time to ask some. I'll give everybody a minute in case they have any questions. Nothing in the chat quite yet, but did you guys want to touch on? I don't know if you mentioned this, but like any advice for people who might be interested in like automating their follow-ups in the event that maybe they're out of the office or something like that? Is there anything you guys do particularly?
Yeah, so we actually, everybody should have a CRM. And if you are a real estate agent without a CRM, call me so we can get that changed. But setting yourself up, having your CRM work with you, having it be your assistant in that fact with follow-up, because you also too need to be strategic on, am I going to chase a lead for 12 months? Absolutely not. You're not. That's not going to be a priority. You're going to have to prioritize your leads that you're working with now that are ready to go and building your pipeline. But that's where your CRM comes in handy, when you get those people that are like, I'm 12 months out, or you feel like you can get them converted, but they're not giving you a timeline. Get them set up on those drip campaigns. Most CRMs are going to have, stock drip campaigns that you can customize to make it tailored for you. Really, all that's trying to do is entice a response from them, keeps them engaged. Again, it keeps your name at the top of their mind. Getting them set up on e-alerts, really, and then getting them back onto your website, keeping them engaged with you, because then really, if you can see that you originally set them up on maybe a more broad search because they're 6 months out, they're 12 months out, but really they've been only favoriting townhomes, go ahead, be proactive, get that switched over. They're clearly looking at townhomes. Let's get that narrowed down for them, because that'll help them make a decision a little bit quicker.
We have a question here. What are some examples of things you prep before a call?
For follow-up, I would one, go off of our last conversation. So that, again, taking notes, keeping notes, and again, I'm going to tie it back to the CRM. That's a great place to hold all of those. So it really creates a book of all your conversations with that lead. But if I knew that a pain point was something with financing, from our last conversation, when I do my follow-up, I'm going to make sure that I have resources available to get over that objection with them. Okay, so we are going to wrap it up today. I want to thank everybody who decided to join us.
Oh, sorry, guys. We had a very last minute one. Let me just read this. Okay, it's more of a comment than a question here, but when following up with a lead that is unresponsive, I like to use a tactic of asking them a question that gets them to know. For example, hey Kim, it's been a while since we've caught up. Have you decided against purchasing a home this year? Usually it'll either get them to say, no, I've just been busy, etc., or yes, because of XYZ. In that case, you can dive into your common rejection scripts.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's great. I think too, we use another one as well, that if the perfect real estate opportunity presented itself, would you be open to it? Because really, and also people don't want to seem like they lose. I really like that. I hope that's maybe someone on our team who said that. But that really also, people don't want to seem like they lost. Right. So if I text Kim and be like, "Are you out of the game?
Have you given up?
Have you given up?" They're like, no, I'm here. I'm sorry, Kim, I'm back. So no, that's huge. I think anything with stuff like that, all you're trying to do is entice a response so you can reopen that conversation with them. Okay, you guys. So I want to invite you guys to go. I think we're going to be actually sending you to joinmartihampton.com after this. And if you want to catch more of our trainings, you can go to 3commaagent.com, and we will see you guys next Thursday.